As the law of the country in the U.S. states plainly that XRP is not a security, I think that after reading the judge's ruling, you have a lot more authority, if you will, once a court rules against you. They can appeal, they can do all those things. Furthermore, I think that yesterday's ruling against the SEC, which we touched on briefly, was based on the strong criticism that the SEC has not faithfully adhered to the law. This is a very severe ruling from a judge informing a U.S. agency that they are not abiding by the law. Furthermore, I think this person will continue to get a lot of attention because of the grayscale decision that was made a week or two ago. The U.S. law forced Bill Hinman's law firm, which was paying him $15 million to represent the Ethereum Enterprise Alliance, to follow the judge's decision that XRP is not a security in and of itself. The SEC has choices, including the ability to appeal and pursue other options, but once the court finds that you have more options, you will have the upper hand. Furthermore, we touched on this briefly yesterday, but I believe that judges who have found against the SEC have done so by arguing that the SEC has not followed the law. This is accurate in both our situation and another, a really harsh court ruling determining that a U.S. government agency is not conducting business in accordance with the law's wording. And then there was the grayscale ruling a week or two ago. A panel of 3 judges unanimously concluded that the SEC was operating in an arbitrary and capricious manner. That phrasing is important because, in my opinion, Bill Hahn law firm will continue to require a significant degree of scrutiny because he represented the Ethereum Enterprise Alliance and received $15 million in exchange for conducting community service. They use terms like corruption and conspiracy. I don't know, therefore I won't say anything, but I will say that this is an intriguing tale. This is the first court decision to thoroughly investigate the question of whether a cryptocurrency is a security position taken up by the SEC, so I don't think it will end anytime soon. On July 13, 2023, Judge Annalisa Torres of the Southern District of New York issued a ruling resolving competing applications for summary judgment in the closely watched SEC Ripple Labs dispute. This ruling could have a significant impact on how the U.S. government oversees the cryptocurrency industry. The CC has asked the court to rule on whether Ripple violated Section 5 of the Securities Act, a historic decision in which the U.S. Supreme Court established a benchmark for identifying securities through the sale and offer of securities without registration in conjunction with XRP transactions. The Howey test states that an investment contract occurs when one party promises to pay another party money to participate in a joint venture with the expectation that the other party will benefit from the management's crucial efforts in determining the venture's success or failure. This is why the tribunal was forced to assess the transaction in question. The issue of securities consent decrees has not gotten much attention in recent years due to the potential that an ICO or another way of selling tokens representing digital assets constitutes an investment contract. Nonetheless, the agreement, plan, or transaction will be regarded as a security and subject to different state and federal securities laws if it satisfies the requirements for an investment contract. However, recent complaints and unofficial comments made by the SEC have blurred the long-standing distinction between the assets mentioned in an earlier warning and the underlying assets provided by investment contract instruments. As SEC Chair Gary Gensler has repeatedly stated in speeches and interviews, the majority of coins representing digital assets or securities, or tokens representing digital assets, are effectively treated as investment contracts when sold through investment contracts. According to recent SEC enforcement actions against cryptocurrency exchanges, the CC is attempting to connect the original token sale to the founders and issuing organizations' ongoing participation in the secondary selling of those tokens on cryptocurrency exchanges as part of an ongoing investment scheme by utilizing the recently reintroduced Securities Clarity Act, a bipartisan measure. These claims and representations obfuscated the distinction between the security of an investment contract and the underlying assets it sells, which might or might not be securities. William Him's now famous 2018 presentation on digital asset transactions, in which he presented Howey to Gary Plastic, a former director of the SEC's Corporate Finance Division, further brought attention to this gap. Nevertheless, the SEC and Chair Gensler chose to test that difference in the middle, despite the fact that the Ripple ruling included other noteworthy holdings. The most important thing that Howey held in the cryptocurrency space may have been realizing the importance of the Howey test and the difference between an investment contract and its subject asset, namely that neither orange groves nor XRP are securities according to Howey's return to fundamentals. This was discovered by Judge Torres during her examination of the XRP currency. An investment contract may be for any purpose, but just because it is a non-security contract does not mean that selling an asset, including a digital asset, through one constitutes a security. An investment contract for security is created by selling and contributing XRP orange groves or any other non-security asset. This is based on a transaction-by-transaction analysis, which takes into account all relevant circumstances surrounding each contract transaction or scheme rather than just the specifics of each one. In his ruling, Judge Torres made it abundantly evident that the digital currency XRP is not a security. Investors in Howey purchased a portion of an orange grove along with a service contract that gave the third-party control over the crop's cultivation, harvesting, and marketing in exchange for returning the net profits to the original investors because the digital asset XRP grows similarly to how his oranges do. Not just the orange trees, but the entire Howey facility served as the foundation for the investment arrangement. Perhaps the most significant effect of the order, and the one that is most likely to be upheld in court, is the restoration of the basic theoretical framework. The Securities Clarity Act and the anticipated financial social innovation and technology fit for the 21st century legislation would both aid in clarifying the relationship between investment contracts and the underlying assets to the public. Emmer took immediate action and made the relationship public by using the Howey transaction-by-transaction approach. Judge Torres considered all pertinent facts and circumstances related to each contract transaction or scheme when evaluating each of the institutional sales, programmatic sales, and other distributions in the order. Out of 3 contracts involving actions or schemes that employ the cryptocurrency, the court only found that the institutional sales of XRP satisfied all of the conditions. The court decided that the other distributions and the programmatic sales were not investments since they did not meet at least one Howey requirement. The court's inconsistent decisions regarding institutional and programmatic sales are the outcome of reviving Judge Torres could easily fulfill the first 2 prongs of the Howey approach regarding institutional sales. Thus, the court decided that programmatic sales did not meet the 3rd condition. As a result, it was not necessary to evaluate the first 2 prongs of the Howey approach. Consequently, he quickly removed them. Judge Torres's primary concern was determining whether buyers of Ripple's XRP and both types of transactions had or would have had a profit expectation. The court recognized this fact while analyzing the 3rd criteria. The corporation found that institutional